Cejudo versus Song Yadong has just concluded at UFC Seattle, and look, it was a good fight. I must admit, it was a very, very good fight while it lasted, and I am under the impression, like a lot of other people on Twitter and in the MMA community, that Henry Cejudo didn't necessarily quit. I don't think he quit. I think he realised the tides were turning and Song was taking over that fight. Song was landing the better shots, the cleaner work. He just had a bit more for Cejudo. Cejudo has such good moments and he's such a good fighter. Like, he's so good. However, I just feel like he's past it. Like, he's not that good in a sense of he's not the top level anymore. He's top 15 for sure, but he just doesn't have enough attributes. He doesn't have enough strength. And another prime example of these American wrestlers are not implementing takedowns anymore. They can't. I mean, you look at people like Aljamain Sterling, who's fantastic at taking the back and is an elite level guy. He's a wrestler that uses jiu-jitsu so highly in his game in terms of weight management and grabbing hooks. Henry Cejudo doesn't do that. Henry Cejudo waits, he plods on the feet, he pounces. But he also is 5'3", 5'4", and he stands in a karate stance with his chin up. It doesn't make any sense. I don't believe he's at this level anymore, and Song Yadong was the better man tonight. I had it 2-1. I had Song winning the first, Song winning the third round, and you could arguably give Song Yadong the second round. There was just a few flurries from Cejudo, and like Song like kind of rolling his ankle a little bit, which would have been like, oh, was that Cejudo that implemented that, or how did that happen? The fight was called a technical decision, which essentially, if you don't know what that means, folks, is if more than 3 rounds have been completed in a bout and someone can't continue due to a no contest incident, for example, an eye poke, accidental groin shot, or a foul, and this is going into the championship rounds, it's accidental, they will resort to the scorecards to make it fair for both corners, you know. However, this fight had about 5 minutes of a break in the third round after the eye poke. If Cejudo said, yeah, I can't continue, that would have been a no contest. So probably the better outcome for Cejudo would have been a no contest. However, Song was winning that fight, and a lot of the consensus now online is Cejudo quit, and in a way he did. He went back to his corner and he said, look guys, I can't see out of my left eye, like I can't see, don't know what he's throwing at me. And he was like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, to his coach, he said, do you understand what I'm saying? And they were like, you know, just breathe, just relax. And he was like, do you understand what I'm saying? To me, that was, look, you have to stop this for me. And then they stood Cejudo up for the beginning of the fourth round, and he said, can we get the doctor in here? Almost everybody knows in MMA, if you say to the doctor, yeah, I can't see, he'll just stop it, no problem, it's over. So Cejudo wanted out of there. I knew he felt the tide was changing. He was kind of heavy breathing, but I think he still felt there. You know, he had a 5-minute break. Song Yadong put his fingers up right in front of him at the end of the third round. I was like, wow, this guy does not give a fuck. Song Yadong on the mic after said, look, I apologise, but he was winning that fight, and he said, look, he would rematch Henry. Only issue with that is if we're waiting now for Henry Cejudo to be ready for a rematch again. It's just like, oh, it's going to be 2 months, 3 months down the line. We have to now get them back in a camp. We have to wait. I want to see Song Yadong just go. Song Yadong was winning that fight, and it did 15 minutes. If you change it to a 3-round fight, Song Yadong wins 3-0 or 2-1. No problem. I think give Cejudo Mario Batista. I really think Cejudo isn't in the mix anymore. Song Yadong versus O'Malley, Cejudo versus Chito Vera. Things like this is what I want to see now. I think Sean O'Malley is going to end up fighting potentially Peter Yan, potentially Merab. They're not going to do the Sanhagen fight. First of all, if Sanhagen beats him, Sanhagen isn't marketable. He was strangled by Aljo. He's lost to Peter Yan. You know what? He's lost to Umar. Like, we don't care about Sanhagen. I also don't necessarily rate Sanhagen that highly. I think he's a bit frail, a bit fragile. I want to see O'Malley in the top of the division getting handy fights because he's such a big star. However, what's next for Song Yadong? I'd say they'll probably do. I mean, he was beating Corey Sanhagen up before he got cut. Like, he was winning the Sanhagen fight. They might do Yadong versus Vera again. Obviously, Song Yadong has beaten Marlon Vera, but he didn't win that fight. Marlon Vera actually outpointed him in that fight. But this is when Song Yadong was a lot younger. Song Yadong was a lot less experienced. He's now 27. He's growing into his frame, and he's just realistically battered Henry Cejudo, and he did batter him. You can't claim that he didn't, because he was winning that fight. It was close. It was very close. However, I had Song Yadong clearly 2-1 up going into the third, and after the eye poke, I mean, Henry after the fight wasn't rubbing his eyes or anything. He was just saying, look, I can't see out of my left eye right now. It's blurry. Sometimes the sport ends like this. I mean, it's not nearly as bad as when Jeremy Stephens and Yair Rodriguez fought. But, fuck, man. Just, it's a sad way for it to end, because I think Yadong probably would have got him out of there. You know, Cejudo wasn't imposing his will and getting into the fight. If anything, he was getting fought out of the fight. Like, he was trying, but then Song Yadong would slip back, chuck an extra punch in there, and it would just... And, you know, if we'd seen more heaps from Song Yadong, more kicks to the body, like left and right kicks to the body, straight kicks, front kicks, I think it would have been a really much worse night for Cejudo. Cejudo couldn't implement his wrestling at all. He's too small. He's getting outmanned as a 38-year-old man in there. I just feel like Yadong was miles better than him, miles on top, miles just speed, athleticism, ability. Just Cejudo's not there anymore. Cejudo's title reign as well was so fraudulent. You know, he won a vacant belt off of Marlon Moraes, who went on to have like a 7-fight KO losing streak. He knocked down Dominic Cruz with a knee that we've never seen him throw before in his career. Fair play. An older Dominic Cruz, injury-ridden, took the fight on 4 weeks' notice, or like 2 weeks' notice, or some shit like that. Early stoppage as well. Oh wow, this guy's the GOAT. He then retires and takes 2-3 years off to try get, I think, a leverage play, a money play from the UFC, and it didn't work. Then he comes back out of shape because he realistically needs money. Folks, Henry Cejudo versus Mario Batista, make it in May, June. He's not active. Henry Cejudo's not an active fighter even when he is fit. So now that he's had this annoying loss, he's going to go on the podcast that he does and say, oh, you know, I couldn't see, dude. I couldn't see. Let's run it back. I couldn't see, dude. Just shut up, Henry. Please get out the division. You would have been a fun fight for O'Malley if you had just sat out and waited. You're now on a 3-fight losing streak to Aljo. Fair enough. Aljo's probably one of the best bantamweights we've ever seen. Merab, who arguably is now the greatest bantamweight of all time. And now Song Yadong, who did beat you, if you're looking at it from the technical decision that it was. The bantamweight division's fun. I do like the bantamweight division. I do like it with Cejudo in the mix. However, Cejudo's not been impressive at all lately. His fight with Aljo was really close, but when you offer Cejudo no respect or no threat on the feet, he has his way. He can march in with his hands held up and just think, you know, I can be here, and I will give him credit. He has a hell of a chin. He's got a phenomenal chin, but folks, the fight was... it was Song Yadong's fight. It was close. It was extremely close in moments, but Song Yadong was just landing the bear kicks. He just had more for him. And Cejudo just didn't bring much to the table in terms of how you're going to go out here and deal with a prospect like this. It was just the same old Cejudo. Let's just go. And he was saying, dude, I can't see. Do you know what I'm trying to say, dude? Can we get the doctor in here? It's not a good look. And the UFC will not appreciate that. And I don't think there's going to be a rematch. I think Dana White will say, no, I'm not really interested in seeing that fight again. It was a phenomenal fight. It was becoming a phenomenal fight. However, I must admit, I do think that they're going to maybe give Song Yadong maybe a Mario Batista next, and maybe Cejudo gets Mario. You never know. I know Cejudo doesn't want to fight lower down, but he's now on a 3-fight losing streak. And Song Yadong versus O'Malley, that could be done in June. Winner gets a title shot, spice up the division a bit. Peter Yan fights Merab in the meantime. O'Malley versus Yadong. Something fun, something that gets people excited, something that's like a number 1 contender fight for O'Malley potentially if he's not going to waltz into a title shot straight away. We'll have to see. Anyway, folks, I'm going to go get on with my day. Thank you for watching this breakdown. Please subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel, and thank you so much.